The new Insta360 X5 is finally here, and it is amazing. Just kidding, that was the footage from the launch of the X4 about a year ago. And this is the footage from the X3. Looks pretty similar, right? Which is something I want to touch on this video. Yes, the X5 has been launched, and yes, a lot of the rumors are true. It does have a bigger sensor, has changeable lenses, has better processing power, better low light, and a few other features that are really interesting. But the point here that I wanted to make is that the hype that these companies are able to generate around their new cameras is insane. And a lot of the times it is down to the creativity of the team making a lot of the marketing content. One of the people that creates some incredible content with 360 cameras is Brandon Lee. And if you've searched for anything to do with 360 cameras or camera gear in general, you've probably come across some of his videos. He's an incredible creative that makes almost any piece of gear look really, really good. And he has done with Insta360 for many years. And I think it's really important to pay attention to, yes, these new cameras are insane. The technology that's packed into them and the incremental improvements is really, really amazing. However, at the end of the day, it comes down to how you use it. And I find myself also getting sucked into this thing. You look at the new stuff and you're like, wow, that looks amazing. I'm going to be able to create content like that. And yes, the answer is you probably could if you really put a lot of time and effort and spent a lot of focus doing that. But the reality is you get these cameras, this is the X3, and you use them a little bit and you then get on with the other stuff you have. You often have a few different cameras. I have the Osmo Pocket 3 and various other professional cameras as well that I use. And then I end up using this very little. I can imagine if this is your only camera, then you're going to get really, really creative with it. But the reality is, for me at least, is a lot of these images that you're seeing are really well thought through and well executed. And they're from people that are spending a lot of time researching and practicing and using these cameras in ways that the average person wouldn't just pick it up and use it. Yes, you can definitely get some unique shots on these things, but the people that are creating the content for these launch videos are doing very unique things. Even if you look at some of the GoPro launch videos, it's insane. People are skydiving, they're jumping off of balloons, they're diving deep under the water with incredible fish and animals and stuff like that. And the reality is most of us aren't doing that on a day-to-day basis. That doesn't mean the camera gear is not good. And the X5 has, like I mentioned earlier, got some really incredible upgrades. And one of the things that I was hoping to get with it was a decent way of putting audio in so I could vlog. And actually, they've come up with their own mic that will sync with this. Unfortunately, it means that you've got to buy another piece of equipment. And I haven't seen how much it costs on their website yet. Maybe I'll put it on the screen right now. And then there are some other really good improvements where you can change the lenses. And as I said in my last video, I actually had a mount snap on me and this thing hit the ground and I've scratched one of the lenses, which is kind of annoying and I can't do anything about it at this point. But that is a huge improvement if you're getting a new action camera and you're looking at getting a 360 camera. But do I think it's worth upgrading to this camera if you own the X4? I think the answer is probably not. Looking at the footage, yes, it does have a bigger sensor and better low light, but when you really dig into some of this sample footage that's come out, I still think that low light capability, the footage doesn't look that great. It looks very muddy, you lose all the details. There's two versions apparently. There's AI enhanced, which I think is being used by the Ace Pro 2, and then there's like a regular low light mode as well. It just doesn't look revolutionary like they're kind of touting it to be. I think, of course, it's going to be better than the X4, and of course, it's going to be better than the X3. But is it going to be something that's going to replace something like the Osmo Pocket 3 with the 1-inch sensor or a bigger camera for that matter? I think probably not. And you can see that from some of these example videos that some of the creators are creating that have been sponsored by Insta360. They're using other cameras to film themselves talking about the 360. They're not using 360 cameras to talk about themselves. And of course, the 360 camera has its limitations. If you did want a better, like a longer focal length, of course you're going to have to use another camera. You're not going to get that on the 360 camera. But I think it also just shows that we're not at a place yet where you can create really high quality talking head content or rely on a 360 camera as your main camera, like perhaps you could with an action camera, for instance. I don't see anybody doing that, and that's not to say you can't do it, but it's very clear the quality difference between something like the Osmo Pocket 3 and also a more professional camera like the Canon series of R5 or Sony or something like that. Now, some of the upgrades I do think are quite good. It's if you're upgrading from something like a X3 or never have owned a 360 camera, the cool features are it's kind of up to date now with the mounting system with a lot of other action cameras. There's a magnetic mounting system there. There are a few gestures and features that you can use with the software where it will recognize you twisting the selfie stick to start recording. There's going to be enhanced editing in the software that will help you edit the footage. And that's one of the biggest pain points of the 360 cameras, is you have to reframe everything. It's one of the beauties and one of the pains as well. The fact that you're filming literally everything around you is awesome, but it also requires an extra step, extra work. And I think they've improved the app and all the software and everything to make it much more seamless if you're posting on social media. And speaking about social media, even Brandon Lee himself in some of his videos, he kind of like said, this is great for social media. So I think in that he's saying that if you are going to blow it up and want to put it on, I don't know, introduce it to some of your professional work or whatever in low light, you're definitely going to see where some of its pitfalls are. So there are other various different improvements and tweaks that come with the generational improvements of these action cameras. And yes, I do think the X5 is going to be an incredible 360 camera. I may upgrade from my X3, or I may not. I'm not using this thing a whole bunch. I use it whilst I travel occasionally, and I use it for unique scenarios. And I have even used it for a few professional shoots as well to get a really unique angle. But I'm not sure if it's worth the $550 for me that the launch price is right now. I don't think that it's not worth that price. However, just for me to upgrade to that after having all of the other tech that I have, I'm not sure if it's fully worth it. If you've never owned an action camera before, this is a great first one to have. I think you're going to be really stoked on it. If you have an X3, perhaps it's worth upgrading. If you have an X4, I wouldn't say it's worth it. You probably are going to be a little bit annoyed that they've not included those little extras in your X4, but I guess that's how it works. You get a bit of a battery improvement on the X5 as well. So all of those things are going to make for a better 360 action camera. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the Insta360 X5. Take them for what you wish. If you like this video, please subscribe, leave a comment down below. Will you be picking up this X5? Do you have an X4? Do you like that? Will you upgrade from an X3? I'd love to know in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one.